When I first started YouTube 4 years ago, I always had a dream that I would make a draw my life when I hit 1 million subscribers. Well, today, I'm gonna do just that, but instead of drawing it, I thought it'd be more appropriate if we built it. So, this is my life. So like many of you, I was born inside of a hospital. I was born in Lancaster, Ohio. I popped out on March 12th, 1995 at 11:57 p.m. 3 minutes before I think Friday the 13th, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how birth works, but I guess you just push out and then there I go. I guess I popped out and then I was inside of this little cage or something like this for a while. I don't know the whole baby process. So life was good for a couple years. You know, I had a couple good memories here, racing Hot Wheels down my hallway. My first words were Mimi, not meme, Mimi. That's what I call my grandma. A couple memories about video games. But life was good until 3 years later in 1998 when my brother Isaac was born. I didn't know that you could just have babies. I thought they were really expensive. So I told my mom, I was like, yo, mom, I heard this new Batman Lego set comes out soon. You know what I'm saying? We could take this baby back and get that Batman little exchange. Apparently that's illegal. So Isaac had to come with us. And so long story short, I was pretty upset about it, but it turned out it was okay. I didn't really mind it too much. Until 2 years later, my mom said she was having another baby. And I'm like, where the heck are you getting all these babies at? I've never seen them for sale in the store. I don't know where they're coming from. This is freaking me out. We got another. And so Ben was born. Ben comes out in the year 2000, pops right out of there. So, you know, life's good. I'm about 5, 6, 7 years old now, starting to get into elementary school. And I live in the middle of Ohio in a pretty small house, but I thought life was awesome. And the best part of it was that every single day in elementary school, I was given free lunches. So I would go up to the lunch thing, grab my little lunch tray like a little happy young little lover fella, and then walk to the front of the line. And the lunch lady always gave it to me for free. So I'd get to the front and she would say, thanks, Zach. This lunch is for you, all free. And she never told me why. No one ever told me why, actually. I always thought that it was because I was so polite and I always said thank you that she would give me free lunches. And this went on my entire elementary school life until I made it to middle school where it suddenly stopped and I didn't know why until I looked it up online. Turns out we were just super poor, had nothing to do with how nice I was, and I was really heartbroken because now I had to pay for my lunch. My mom didn't have a job and my dad didn't make a lot of money. But then, and this is cool because this is an exact replica of my house that I grew up in. You'd walk inside, you would go inside, you got a nice little kitchen here. This is where I first was introduced to video games, small living room, and of course we have a beautiful deck out back where we just spend time enjoying our stream in the backyard. I think that's why Isaac is now a wildlife ecologist, because we spent so much time ice skating, catching fish and crawdads in the stream in the back. You take a right down the hallway and this is where I actually grew up. This is our bathroom. This is where my dad would sleep, and here with my mom. And then Isaac and Ben shared this room growing up. It was a big one. I had this room all to myself. I'm the older brother, I get everything. But nowadays, this is where Isaac lives and Ben lives in here because they're both in college, living at home to save moolah. So you take it downstairs, you've got yourself like a little gaming room. I have a lot of great memories here. Growing up when I was young in middle school, we would play like a lot of sports in the backyard and have some snowball fights, come in by the fireplace, relax, and then watch a movie. But let's go out the garage here. This is it, guys. I'm moving into middle school now. And this is my first taste of gaming because one day when I was around 10 years old, my dad brought home a Sega Dreamcast. This is the first thing I'd ever seen that was a console. And when I first saw it plugged in, I thought it was my cousin's CD player. And so I got mad and I actually tried to break it. I don't know why. Played a lot of Crazy Taxi and ATV Off-Road Fury 2. The first games that I ever played started right here. But in between that, I'm in about 6th grade now. Your boy started growing a mustache in 6th grade. Look at the size of that thing. This razor was needed in 6th grade. I cried like a baby because I was hitting puberty so much earlier than everyone. And I was like, what the heck? If I have a mustache, no one else does. And I'm starting to think, I'm getting logical. And I'm like, wait a minute, people who have mustaches work. So my thought was that I would have to quit school and start working. I guess I was wrong, and now I really like the beard, but back then this was torturous. And this is where things get really important, because I found a game called RuneScape. This consumed my life and was my first experience of video games. I loved it so much, I put more hours into it than I could count. But since we were poor, we couldn't afford a RuneScape membership. I had no money. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I believe it's because of this. Because we had no money, I needed a way to make money. So at 11 years old, I went to websites where I would click on ads to make 1 cent, maybe even a 10th or a 100th of a cent per click. And I did it until I got those $10 to buy a membership. And then I would give them to my friends. I would buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards. I was the coolest middle schooler around. And that is how I became obsessed with one day having my own business, which I now have. But it wasn't all video games. I played a lot of basketball. Since I hit puberty earlier, I was a monster. I mean, I was huge, but now that I'm 5'6" and 25 years old, well, you can see why I don't play that anymore. Baseball was big as well in my life, but once they started getting into coach pitch and throwing the ball at me, I don't know. I threw up a lot because it scared me. Soccer was really where my heart was at, and I played soccer my entire life. At around 2007, I played on a lot of travel teams. I met some of my best friends playing soccer that I still hang out with to this day, and I even still play soccer right now. It's got a place in my heart that will never leave. I love the sport, and I played left striker over there That is me right there. This is where I started hanging out with friends and getting even more into gaming. We would hang out together and we would do what we called LAN parties, where we all brought our own Xbox, we all brought our own TV. We would literally hang out and just game. We'd play FIFA on the main screen, we'd play Skyrim on the other screens, and we would just play every single weekend of high school. We loved video games so much. At these hangouts, we would even get into a hot tub called the Hot Tub of Truth, which is one of the best memories I have, where no secrets would ever be shared outside of the hot tub. The rule still stands to this day. I still have secrets that would land these people in jail. Okay, they're not that serious, but Hot Tub of Truth was a big thing for us. And then, my junior year of high school, I fell in love with a girl that I dated for 7 years. It's pretty incredible when you think about how long that is. Moving forward though, I graduated high school with pretty decent grades, so I was like, I'm gonna become an engineer at The Ohio State University. I got denied. They didn't let me in. So I applied to UC and got in there. My goal was to become an environmental engineer because I spent time in Dominican Republic as a Boy Scout, and I saw people that were literally drinking water out of a river that they also had used the bathroom in. They were drinking the same water, and it broke my heart. So I wanted to get a job that could make a difference. That's why I picked environmental engineering. I went to the University of Cincinnati, where I didn't know anyone. I had no friends. All my friends went to OSU. I was a super introvert, and I hated it. So the first 2 weeks were terrible. I thought about dropping out. I cried every night. I hated my life. But then one night I went to a school-sponsored event called a foam party, just like this. There was just a big pool filled with foam. And I started talking to some people. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I love pineapple on pizza.
Oh, you're weird. Hey, what's up? Oh, you're kind of weird. Hey, what's, oh, no, you're weird too. Hey, oh, you're ignoring me. And I found a group of people. They started talking to me and were pretty cool. One of them even helped me develop an app, and we're still really good friends to this day. So this foam party is where I met my first friends. But this, right here, around 2016, is where my life started to change for the worst. I went through one of the hardest times of my life, and I believe this is why I was able to get to where I am today. My first year in school, I started getting Fs on all my papers in engineering. I started failing classes. I had a 2.1 GPA in engineering. I had failed classes so much that I was told if I fail one more time, I'll be kicked out of the school. I had the lowest grades of all my friends, so I did what anyone would do. I went out and I spent all my money on a gaming computer. Look, this one has an RGB keyboard. The gaming computer is the one that I still have today. Maybe it wasn't the best purchase, because my grades got worse, and I had a meeting with my advisor. My advisor sat me down and she said, and I will never forget this quote, she said, "Engineers do not get GPAs like you. You will not graduate. It's time to change majors." I was heartbroken. I wasn't gonna be an engineer, and I was destroyed. I had given up so much time studying, but I just couldn't do it. I started a YouTube channel right after that, just because I needed something to distract myself with. I was in a very dark place. Made a couple videos. They're still up today. My very first video was Binding of Isaac, but it got worse. My heart was broken in half when the girl that I had dated for 7 years broke up with me. This was in March of 2016, right after my grades were slipping. She broke up with me, and I thought that was the end. But less than a month after that, we found out that my parents were getting divorced because my mom had an affair. She had an affair and took off, left the family. I have not heard from her since. I was heartbroken. I went into a severe depression. I cut out my friends. I quit going to work. I would take vacation days, and this was just the start of what would become the hardest year of my life. And I hope no one has to go through what I had to go through. I spent a lot of time in hospitals in the next few weeks. No, not because I was doing anything to myself, but because I was getting infected. I spent time on operating tables just like this for surgeries, which we're gonna talk about soon. Surgeries that changed my life forever. 3 months after I lost my girlfriend and my mom, I went on vacation to cheer myself up, and the first day on vacation, I broke my bone. Here's a picture of what my finger looked like that day. I broke my bone, I broke my pinky, and it's so broken. To this day, the pinky does not close all the way. See that little gap right there? I can force it down, but it hurts. I got surgery. It was my first broken bone, and it was hard. But what was harder was when my throat got infected. I got infected with a disease that no one could ever figure out what it really was. And here's actually a video I posted the day this happened.
What's up guys? Update video. I have strep throat and I'm dying. I'm probably not gonna make a video for a while.
I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I didn't know how severe it was until I got surgery. For 4 months, I was unable to speak correctly, and this is what I sounded like.
So about 4 days ago, I woke up and I had like a little bit of a sore throat, and I thought, you know what, this kind of sucks. But I just kind of ignored it and thought maybe it's just because I let my cat lick my tonsils last night.
I knew if I got surgery, because this was one of the most painful surgeries in the world, that I would not make it to class, and I would have to fail another semester, and I would be out. I went to a whole semester unable to speak, finally got surgery. It was so painful that I literally could not eat for an entire month. But the worst part was that after surgery, 24 hours later, I started bleeding out in my throat. I was rushed to the emergency room at 2 a.m., bleeding to death, and the only reason that they said I didn't die was because I lost so much blood, my blood pressure could not pump the blood up to pour it out of my throat. It was flooding like a geyser. They swished acid in my throat as I passed out, sealed the wound shut, and I lived. with immense pain for the next 2 months. This was all in the same year, but I kept pushing and I kept pushing and I kept pushing, and I ended up going to therapy because I was so depressed about everything that had happened. I felt like I had nothing going for me. I didn't have a lot of money. I just felt like crap every single day. And things started getting a little bit better. In fact, my grades even started getting better. And even though I was told I would never graduate, even though I was told that I should change majors, I figured it out. And I ended up graduating with a 3.5 GPA in college, which is one of the best GPAs that I could have had. I recovered. And my last year, I got all straight A's, which is something that I am incredibly proud of. And I did get a degree in environmental engineering from the University of Cincinnati. And soon after that, I kept pushing and I got 100,000 subscribers. And I knew that I could actually do this. I knew if I kept pushing, I would be able to get 1 million, maybe one day. And I kept going and life was looking good. Until one day, my mom came back into my life and sued me for $80,000. She wouldn't speak to me. Only her lawyers, and this was the last time I'd talked to her. The lawsuit came in, I didn't have any money, I was still recovering from all the bad stuff that happened in my life. I had therapy, things weren't going well, I was anxious, I was sad, but I had a girlfriend. The only problem was, as I moved to get a new job when I graduated, she became diagnosed with cancer. And at 23 years old, she passed away from her cancer. It was very hard for me. It is not easy to even talk about now, to lose someone that you like that much. And so much bad stuff happened. My parents divorced, a girl that I loved died, I had surgery on my throat, I had broken bones, I had bad grades, I was told I would fail. A lot of my friends said that this is a waste of time, these YouTube videos were a waste. But despite all of this stuff happening, I never quit making videos. Every single day I made a YouTube video, no matter what. If I got sick, if I was hurt, I still made videos. There was no stopping for me. I was hurting. My life was still not good. Because even though I secured a really good high-paying job as an engineer, I hated it. Every morning I'd walk into a cubicle just like this. I'd walk into my cube, I'd sit down, I'd fill out Excel worksheets, I'd go home every single day doing boring tasks. I wasn't changing the world like I wanted to. I got into environmental engineering to save lives, not to fill out Excel spreadsheets. I would walk down the cubicle aisles every single day, fill up my water, come back, maybe get some coffee. That's it. Then I'd go home and I'd spend 10 hours on YouTube because I was at the point where there was no alternative in my life. It was succeed at YouTube at all costs. I would sacrifice anything to make it a job. And despite all of that, my views started climbing. And in August 23rd, 2019, I quit my job to become a full-time YouTuber on what was one of the best days of my life. And despite all of the bad things that happened in my life and everything that has happened to me, I never quit. The only thing that ever stopped me was being unable to record because I was literally in a hospital bed. There was no stopping besides that. I read hundreds of books. I put in more effort than I can ever imagine, and I got out of that job. And within 6 months of quitting, I managed to get 1 million subscribers. And behind this wall is my 1 million subscriber build. This is one of the best days of my life because I have shown that you don't need to have anything to get started. And no matter what happens to you, whatever your dream is, you can push through it and you can become something incredible. I'm not saying that it was easy to get here, and I'm not saying that these bad things don't happen to everyone. What I'm saying is my journey here was full of so many bumps, so many bruises. I didn't want to focus on the positives because the negatives are what makes us stronger. This journey was hard, but this is the best journey I've ever had, and I would not be here without those bad things happening to me. I would not be the person I am today without all of those tragedies and life-changing events that happened. I am so proud of how many different twists and turns this journey took, from being told I would fail in school, to being told that maybe I'll never speak to my mom again, to being sued, to being heartbroken. I never quit. And I hope this inspires some of you to follow your dreams and do whatever it is you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you find a way to follow your dream, or you find an excuse. Guys, thank you for being here for 1 million subscribers and listening to the story of my life. I hope that you stay here for a long time and continue to enjoy our videos. As always, lick that screen. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.